my name is Tim Bulot. I'm the owner and the head instructor of the Academy of Kenpo Karate located in Irving, Texas. Welcome to my video series on training to survive with Kenpo Karate. Before we get started, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the information contained in the videos, how we came about putting this series together, and tell you a little bit about myself. My martial arts experience began as a teenager. I studied Korean as well as Chinese styles, and therefore I was exposed to some of the hard linear systems as well as some of the soft circular systems. In 1982, I became a police officer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and it didn't take long to find out that I really needed to sharpen my self-defense skills, and that's when I was introduced to Kenpo and have been studying ever since. And under the careful guidance and leadership of Master Larry Tatum, I am currently a third-degree black belt and working towards my fourth. Throughout my 12-plus years experience as a police officer, I've worked in the patrol division. I was a field training officer where I was assigned to train recruit officers, a criminal investigator, and then I was assigned to the training section where I became an instructor in defensive tactics, firearms, and street survival. Now, if you were to compare the defensive tactics training that a police officer receives to the martial artist training, you would find that physically speaking, the martial artist training is by far superior. However, police officers do address important mental aspects of training, and what we've done in this videotape is we've blended the mental aspects that I've learned through my years of experience as a police officer with the physical application of technique that I've learned through my Kenpo training and throughout my martial arts training. One of the most important things that my years of experience has taught me is that when you're in a confrontation on the street, the way you react depends entirely upon the way that you've trained. You become spontaneous, your mind shuts down, your body thrives on instinct, and you have to have developed those instincts properly and effectively to come out ahead in a street confrontation. Now you're probably beginning to wonder, what does all this have to do with martial arts training? Well, it doesn't matter what kind of conflict it is. If it's a high-stress situation, you're going to thrive and react by the way that you've trained. So what we've done here is brought the concept of what I've just explained to you, and we're going to apply that to the martial arts training. Now, what we're going to do is take some of your self-defense techniques that you've learned in Kenpo, and it doesn't matter what system you studied. This will apply anywhere. And we're going to give you some realistic methods of practicing your self-defense techniques. We're going to prepare you to take it a step further if needed. We're going to prepare you to cover yourself in what we call a 360-degree concept. This is where you think survival, 360 degrees, and we're going to try to get you in the habit of training more realistically. Now, even as a beginner, you can begin doing this. You can work on multiple opponents. You can work on a front attack and a rear attack. You can work on opponents from two sides. You can work on an opponent, defending against an opponent that attacks with more than one punch, more than one kick, because that's probably the way it's going to be on the street. One punch, one kick usually doesn't do the job, and the attackers generally come at you with more, or a weapon gets involved. So we're going to take all this into consideration, and we're going to start building and teaching you some drills to work on keeping yourself thinking 360 degrees. Try not to concentrate just on one point, but let's address all the aspects here. Let's work on staying alive and coming out of a street confrontation a winner. Keep in mind that when you practice a self-defense technique or a scenario in which several self-defense techniques are involved, that not only are you conditioning your physical skills, but you're conditioning your mind as well. Techniques must be repeated hundreds and even into the thousands of times to become spontaneous. If you do this and you do it incorrectly, think of the consequences. Think of how you react on the street. You don't want to go out there with a half-loaded gun, people. You want to train realistically and address all the issues, and that's the information we're going to try to get to you in this video series, is practical training. The drills that we're going to demonstrate in this video tape by no means have all the answers within them, but what we've tried to do is put together some scenarios to give you some ideas and some methods of practicing to where you do begin to think survival 360 degrees around. Always watch your back, and remember, no technique is 100% effective on the street. Okay, let's get started. Come with me now, and we'll go into the studio and let's begin training.